hooker with a heart of gold, prairie nymphs, soiled doves, sportin' women, whores.
Prairie nymphs is very cute.
You're listening to The Oldest Profession. My name is Kaytlin Bailey. I worked as an hourly escort when I was in high school for no good goddamn reason. I was just super curious. And then when I needed money for the first time, I got into sugaring because I'm not stupid.
I'm Wendi Starling. I started selling my panties on the internet when I was 34. Then from there, made the very smart leap to sugaring at the ripe old age of close to 35. So I do that to help support comedy.
So every week on The Oldest Profession, I am going to tell a story about an old hoe that came before us because it's the oldest profession, so it's got to have a history, right? And all these bitches have really cool stories. So I'll be telling a story from a sex worker, whore, lady of the night, woman of ill repute, whatever you want to fucking call it, that came before us.
And you are listening to The Oldest Profession.
To The Oldest Profession.
You got to keep things spicy.
What's finger licking good? I mean, come on. Obviously, The Oldest Profession
has a history. Yeah, what I need to do is find you. I got to make sure I don't sweat too much. I got to check my BO. Well, I'm wearing a full cashmere. I know it looks like I'm in a homeless person, like a hobo dress.
It's a very expensive homeless dress.
Yes, it was a sample, but yeah, it's like, this is perfect. I feel real douchey. It feels perfect cashmere weather.
It should be. It should be cashmere weather, but instead it's gross out. It's humid and it's sticky. It's like not exactly. It's not hot unless you move, and then it's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of my orifices are sticky.
Yeah, but the good news is I also forgot to put on underwear this morning in my rush out the door.
Oh, perfect. You're gonna air out your vag.
So I'm just hotboxing my pussy in a cashmere dress right now. There's no barrier. What are you going to do?
And you got to get that vagina slime all over your cashmere, dry clean only.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, I could sell this for a lot of money.
Yeah, you could. Right, exactly. Forget your $50 panties. Sell
I know.
a $500 vag slime cashmere dress.
Well, fuck this pot. I'm out. I'm leaving. I don't need a job. We'll sell this on Patreon.
Perfect.
People are wanting stuff for the Patreon thing you were telling me.
And we're getting it. It'll be up. I don't know when it'll be. It's coming. It's coming.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, we're thrilled that you want to give us money, and we're not ready for it yet.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, hey, I'll put my Venmo in the show notes for this. If you feel like you want to send me money,
don't hesitate.
Yeah, feel free. It's at Wendi Starling. That's a joke. It's not a joke. Hey,
no, that is.
But I will sell this pussy dress to you. Jesus Christ, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? How have you been?
Good. I feel
like sweating.
I know. Good. And my hair's drying.
Yeah. No, you look great.
Oh, thanks. It feels earlier, and I know it's not, but I think it's because it's gloomy.
Yeah, no, it's got that weird light out. It also doesn't really. I know this is like one of the most boring sentences, especially since I do freelance and haven't had a concept of like a 7-day week for a couple of years now. And I'm like, it doesn't feel like a Wednesday. It doesn't feel like it's a Wednesday.
Let me tell you, I had a conversation first of all, and I agree, it does not feel like a Wednesday.
Right, but I don't know why. I mean, my days have just been bleeding in and out of each other for years now.
Yeah.
I've never had a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. That's never been a thing for me.
But you still have like a general sense of
like a rhythm of the week. Yeah.
I know. I mean, it does feel like Wednesday. It's always hump day. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Who's coming with me? But first of all, don't apologize for saying that. It doesn't feel like a Wednesday. I had a because I love boring office talk. And I got to tell you, I was with Stephen Penta.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking. And he was like, and we always have these really intense conversations. And I think, and like you and I are the same, but a lot of comics are like that, right?
With fuck small talk. We're just going to get straight into the conspiracy theory right away.
Right. And then especially like that. And then with you and I, even more specifically, people want to, not only the comedy thing, people get intense right away, but then also people are just like, so wait, no, what is this?
The sex work is a green light for all kinds of conversations.
It's such a polarizing thing. People can't. But anyway, so you being used to these really intense conversations, and we're talking about the weather, and I'm like, it's so nice. I go, I wish it would hurry up and get colder.
Yep.
Right. And he goes, yeah, I know this heat, and he starts talking about global warming. And I'm like, no, I just for like. The clothes are just better. He goes, yeah, I know. I like to put on a scarf. I'm like, and we just start talking about how clothes are better when it's colder. And he put a hard stop. He goes, ugh, gross. I can't believe we're talking about clothes. I feel like we're having a normal conversation. I'm like, sometimes it's nice to just talk about clothes.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to just inhale and exhale and not feel like you're in a conversation that could get real weird real fast.
Right. Not every conversation is trying to change the fucking world. Sometimes you want to put on a scarf, and sometimes it does not feel like a Wednesday.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And
sometimes I have like a real hard time making decisions between turkey and chicken. All right. You know what?
Right.
You know what? I'm going to sit here. I'm going to agonize over my choices.
Right. And that's real.
Yeah.
And now
the struggle is real.
I did a terrible job setting up the show. Sometimes it's just nice to have a boring conversation and not everyone's trying to change the world, except for the next 48 minutes. Yeah. We're trying to change the world. But we are trying to change the world with the show a little bit.
I'm really excited about this week's episode.
Yeah, so we got all the small talk out of the way, and now let's get into the heavy shit.
Boom!
What's going on today?
Today we are talking about Mary Jones, a.k.a. Beefsteak Pete.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. So Mary Jones, the whole thing went down in June 11th in 1836 right here in New York on a place called Green Street, which is actually right by my West Village apartment. It's like right where Minetta Street is.
Oh, yeah.
Right by the cellar.
Oh, that's where we did the shoot.
Yeah,
the thing.
Exactly. Well, that was a notorious district for brothels apparently back in the 1830s. And this person who was born Peter Seawally was dressed as Mary Jones, a black prostitute, and she seduced or propositioned Robert Haslam, who came back to the brothel that she was working out of. They had their interaction. He left and then noticed that his wallet was empty, and in fact, it wasn't his wallet. It was somebody else's wallet with a receipt in it. So Robert takes it upon himself, tracks down this dude, is like, hey, why is your wallet in my bag? And this guy's like, look, my wallet got stolen by this black prostitute. So that's probably what happened. We both saw this woman. We both went to Green Street. We both saw Mary Jones. She's a wallet thief. What are you going to do?
Okay.
And so
this is like a mystery.
It's like a mystery. So both of these dudes go down and they tell Constable Boyer what's going down. They come up with a genius plan to entrap Mary by soliciting her. So Constable takes himself down to Green Street, looks for and finds Mary Jones on her regular stroll, goes back to her apartment, and then arrests her for pickpocketing and thievery. Searches her apartment, finds a bunch of wallets, searches her, discovers it's a dude.
I was gonna say, finds a dick.
Yeah, finds a dick on Mary Jones, much to everyone's shock, right? 5 days later, they go to court, and Mary Jones shows up to court in full motherfucking drag. She shows up and presents herself as Mary Jones in court as a black man in 1836. Andrew Jackson's been president for 8 years. That's like the Trump of his time, right? Like, we've done the Trail of Tears with the Native Americans. I mean, like, things going to hell in a handbasket, and this guy's like, nope, I'm just an out trans sex worker, and you guys have to deal with my shit on the terms that I present them. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So now, is she one of the first like on record trans sex workers?
Yeah, I think she's one of the first that we have records of. Yeah, I mean, like, I can't say that definitively because I think there have been trans sex workers this whole time, right? But she's certainly one of the first people to defend herself in court, and actually says that she was making most of her money working as a cook and a maid in this brothel, but the other girls that, the women of ill repute that worked in this brothel, encouraged her to dress up as a woman, and she'd gotten in the habit, like, she was partying in New Orleans as a woman, and she'd gotten in the habit of dressing up in drag at the brothel, and people like enjoyed her performance. And then eventually she started turning tricks and passing as a woman.
That's cool,
right? It's so cool.
Also, I mean, now logistically, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but like, I mean, so you're just blowing dudes?
This is what's interesting. So at the time,
I mean, obviously you can take it in the ass.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, and I'm gonna also call bullshit that, I mean, because probably some of the clients had to know. Well,
I mean, and that's sort of an interesting discussion that we should get into today too, because like trans sex workers are way overrepresented among sex workers because of employment discrimination, right? There are fewer job opportunities for trans people because people discriminate against trans people, right?
Yeah.
And so there is a market for trans sex workers, but there isn't enough of one to accommodate the supply of trans sex workers. So a lot of trans sex workers' bread and butter comes from fooling their clients. There's a long tradition of that. And it's interesting that that Mary Jones, or Beefsteak Pete, was charged with larceny but not sodomy. So this is before prostitution is criminalized, right?
Okay.
So like prostitution isn't illegal, but like pickpocketing and sodomy are.
Yeah.
But none of her clients would admit to butt fucking. So instead, the newspapers report that she successfully fooled her clients by fashioning 2 pieces of beef in the shape of a vulva that she had. And that's how she got the nickname Beefsteak Pete. Now, look, I've talked to a bunch of trans sex workers about this, and they're like, look, the only beef trick that we have ever heard of as street trans sex workers is called the liver trick, which is where after you, so they often like will duct tape their dick so that if somebody like reaches around, they can't find it.
Right.
And they'll put like a pad with like a piece of liver on it or something as like, oh, I'm on my period. We have to do butt stuff to hide that there's no vaginal opening, right? So that's called the liver trick.
Oh my God.
But it's not.
Hey, liver alone.
Liver alone.
Yes.
Liver alone. She's on her liver period.
Yeah. Dude. Sorry. I don't know. That's from the movie Scream. I had to do it. That, first of all, how sexy does it make you feel as a woman where it's like, no, we don't use beef, but we take liver. It's like, God, what pussies are, I mean, they're beautiful and whatever, but I'm like, oh.
It's just the innards of a sandwich.
Yeah.
I was talking to a chef and he was like, well, you can't lose lamb because it's too aromatic. It's going to smell.
Yeah. Oh, no. That's, I might have a gyro or gyro cooking in this cashmere dressing a little bit.
Right. I was like, why not pork? He was like, well, if you're going to do beef, you got to make sure it's marbled, right? So you got to get that texture, ribbed texture.
Right.
I have no idea.
Ribbed for his pleasure.
Not for hers. There's no her in this scenario.
I know.
It was fantastic. So this trial, of course, makes a sensation, right?
Yeah.
So like the Herald Sun and like the newspapers are all competing with each other to cover this like crazy story.
So this is okay. So Mary Jo. Okay, so I want to go. I just wanted to I had to set my brain because I was listening to the story and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is huge.
It's huge.
So okay. So now she shows up in court.
Shows up in court,
Full drag.
After 5 days in jail. No hormones. No nothing.
Right.
Shows up,
and then that's crazy. So they couldn't charge her with anything because no one would admit.
Nobody
to
would
fucking her
admit
in the
to
ass.
sodomy. Prostitution's not illegal. I mean, they did charge her with grand larceny,
right? But still,
so she served 5 years in jail. I mean, it wasn't like a short time.
Yeah,
but then
stealing is wrong.
And tricking can be wrong, and we should talk about that and get into it.
Yes,
it's like it's. I don't know if I was like how it feels a little bit like a consent violation. And also it feels just sort of like I don't know how I feel about it, right? Like it's because it kind of feels like maybe consent on false pretenses, but it sort of feels like in that sense like the moral equivalent of like a dude lying about being married.
Yep, I was just gonna say that's what I would. Yeah,
right, like I didn't want to be the kind of woman that was a that slept with a married man. I don't want to be a homewrecker. I don't want that identity in the same way that dudes are like I don't want to be gay. I don't want to fuck a dude. I don't want to put my dick next to some place that used to have or maybe still has a dick, or whatever the fear is. But the power dynamic between like a trans sex worker and their client, it's like this is a survival technique. It's like almost like how it's like we have the luxury of being like, well, you really shouldn't lie, and it's like, oh no, this is a life or death situation,
right?
Like because your option is get away with this hustle or die, whether you're killed or starving to death. Like that's yeah.
No, that's a tricky one because the only thing I could compare it to is the married thing.
Yeah.
But
married men don't have to lie about their marital status for their survival. That's not correct. That's not a thing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing. Yeah, that's so tricky because I don't know what I would do, and
none of us know what we would do
in
a real life or death situation. And that's the thing, like, that my dad really taught me growing up, like, just because he'd been to so many war zones, is like the veil of civility is thin and fragile. And so, like, pushed up against a wall. And I feel like a lot of trans people, certainly in 1836
no shit.
And today, are living in, like, a kind of invisible war zone.
Oh, yep, constantly.
Yeah.
People that you know, and a really good friend of mine, she's a great comic, Riley Silverman. She's in LA. She's trans comic. And she's, I shouldn't say she does, I mean, she does jokes not just about being trans. That's like when someone says like, you know, but she's so funny and we've been friends for a long time. It is crazy though. You can watch the transition as she was making it. And you walk around and just people it's not their business. You're walking, even at a fucking farmer's market in Studio City, right? Where it's like very liberal. You're walking, you see people just look, make comments, say shit constantly. Yeah. And they are constantly under attack. Yep. Even in a way that I remember even when I was a teenager, same coffee shop we talked about before where the girl was like, yeah, I put makeup on my herpes. And I was like, word? That sounds right.
Don't do that. That's a way worse lie. Right. That's actually something similar. That is one of the only things. It's not that similar, but it's another. Yeah. All these little. Just be honest. Be upfront with people. Yeah, if you can, and then if you can't, you know, get your hustle on because the goal is always to survive. You gotta survive to live another day, and we'll all live with our goddamn choices later. But again, I think the difference too is like if I'm hooking up with somebody and as a woman, this could also go this way too, because if I'm gonna hook up with someone and I'm like, oh wait, I have an STD or I have this, right? You want to tell somebody that you could be with some guy who's like a drunk rage maniac and hates women, and he's like, well then I'm gonna like beat the shit out of you because you're a dumb whore or something like that. But even that's just not the same as like going to hook up and being like, oh, I am trans. Like, because then the trans and homophobia, people. This is something that trans people have to deal with as sex workers and also in their personal life. Oh, yeah. You know, like, so I deal, I have a lot of friends who are trans, and the question of like when or whether to tell is often a thing that they've dealt with. Now, a lot of my friends are just like super out right now. So like you don't have a 10-minute conversation with them without hearing, about their trans background, just like you can't have a 10-minute conversation with me without hearing about my sex work. So it's like, my process of coming out is done. But I remember being racked with what turned out to be very rational fear of outing myself as a sex worker within the context of a romantic relationship. That's when I got the shit beaten out of me. That's when the violent reaction happened. And there's something about, men, when they find out that you're, like in my case, when they found out I was a sex worker, but I'm sure that if people find out about your trans status in a relationship, they have a violent reaction to that. They're not like female rape victims that, shamefully try to find ways to make it their fault. No, they're going to beat the shit out of you and sometimes often kill you. Right. Angry men is the leading cause of death for women under 65, and angry men is the leading cause of death for trans people. Yeah. It's terrifying, and I can't even imagine back in the day. I was going to, obviously Mary Jo kept all her parts because I was going to say, what a set of balls. Yeah. On that broad. Yeah, the brassy balls on this broad. Walk into court. Yeah. Full drag. This is before. This is 1836. I stole your wallet, and I got a dick, and I look good in this dress. Never mind being a black person in America in 1836. Right. Oh fuck! Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. She's gonna walk in to an all-white courtroom, an all-male courtroom in full motherfucking drag. Right. Right. And then it's interesting, the story. I think it's inspiring. We don't know how she died. We do know that 10 years later, so 5 years after she got out of prison in 1845 and 1846, she was arrested again as Mary Jones, doing the same damn thing that she was doing before, fully supported by her community. So she's like living in this brothel and is a part of this like sex worker, this like chosen family that sex workers and, sexual deviants throughout, or just deviants, artists, whatever, throughout history have sort of found each other and supported each other against society, man. Right. So she found her people. Well, so now go back to the court. So you said the papers picked it up, so it was like a huge deal? Yeah, it was a huge deal. It's well documented. Okay. Yeah, because they were like competing. Like Metro North versus like the New York Post, like with like the most sensational story. So they're just doing like headlines. And there was a lilograph that was printed, which is interesting. It's H.R. Robinson printed a lilograph called The Man Monster, where he depicted Mary Jones as actually like a fairly like a refined black lady. But labeled it the man monster, aka Beefsteak Pete. So, we're letting the audience know that this fine looking young woman is actually a man. And he's actually interesting in the context of like sex work history, because he would make these like sensationalized lithographs right before photography. So he actually captured a lot of moments in sex worker history. So we'll get into some of his work later. But he gets arrested in 1842 on obscenity charges, and they confiscated more than $20,000 worth of pornography that he had in his business.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So pornography is more illegal than prostitution in 1842, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, now at the time, like, were they taking cuts? Was the government taking cuts at all from the brothels?
Yeah, I think so. I think they probably had like a payout system where police officers would get, there were like licensing fees where you would have to like license, or fines that were set up more like licensing fees, where it's like, we'll fine you for this. But the way that like prostitution is criminalized is they end up criminalizing lots of stuff around it, right? So like loitering is illegal, or like solicitation is illegal, or like these like little pieces.
Well, what the fuck is up? What is the no loitering thing? I mean, it's
they outlawed that standing somewhere.
Is that where where all that came from?
I mean, I think it probably,
and it's like,
I don't know the for sure history on this, but it sounds more like a race class issue where they're like, I can't get these poor people away from my storefront. They're frightening away all the people with money. So they're like trying to, so no loitering is an anti-vagrancy law.
Yeah.
Right. Because people that don't have money aren't allowed to participate in civil society, according to us, starting, I don't know, a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 years ago.
I remember as a kid, like, no loitering, and there's all places all over New York where it's like no standing, and I'm like, in New York, I'm like, first of all, everybody's loitering.
Everyone's
in New York.
loitering here, right?
We're constantly schlepping. I walk around, I look more like, and I gotta tell you, that's why I'm walking around this cashmere dress. But it is having the status thing.
Yeah.
Is like, I'm walking around with a suitcase. I have a suitcase right now. I used to do a joke, which I need to bring back because it's a very funny joke. But I talked about like how it's hard to have like one night stands or whatever kind of bullshit. I was like, it was a segue into like having wanting a boyfriend, some bullshit. But it was the punchline. The joke was just like, oh, it's easier in LA because I have a car, so I can have all my slut gear in my car.
Yeah.
But I can't. It's hard to look coy showing up to a first date with like a rolling suitcase.
Right. Hey, I was really hoping this goes well tonight because I don't have a place to stay.
Yeah, and then it's right, and then unpacking, and it's like we were talking about in the last episode where people are like, "Oh, it's the first time I've ever done this," but it's like hard to be cute, like. Yeah, like get their place. Like I never do this. I start here. Will you hang this? This is silk. This is my nightlight. Where should I put my toothbrush holder? Like, but it is. And so what's so interesting is the difference that you feel, and this like the shame part of it. When I'm running around, like right now, I've got a suitcase with me. I'm running around. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to meetings, and then I have like 3 changes of clothes with me.
Yeah. Costume change throughout the day.
Right.
We play so many roles.
Right. And so you go, and it's like, I feel like everyone in New York is loitering, and I'll take 2 different showers today and 2 different Equinox gyms.
Right.
Like, but the difference is you're doing it in like a fancy arena, so nobody cares. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
Ooh, I'm very bougie because I'm taking a car, taking a private car.
Taking a car to Equinox, but I'm also functionally homeless.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've totally been there. You know, spending money on lattes when I didn't have a place to stay. Just being a nightmare. But it's interesting like that, like call it bathroom privilege. Right? So like just the ability to walk into a place and pee without getting fucking harassed.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like I can walk into any hotel, any bar, restaurant, just make eye contact with someone, like, I'm so sorry, can I use the restroom? And it's just like white privilege.
Yep.
Right? Like I've had that experience with black comics that are like told that they have to buy something in a super rude and condescending way, whereas they'll like wave me along. I'm like, no, we're together actually. This is blatant. And then for trans people, like one of the scary things about like the North Carolina anti-trans bathroom law is that trans people, by virtue of the stigma against them and the discrimination, already don't have the same bathroom privilege that you and I have. Just by looking white, looking cute, looking put together, we have access to all of these free services that these desperately poor people don't.
Put together. I mean, I don't know that I'm put.
No, you're a mess. But
I will put makeup on. I've got Yves Saint Laurent. I swear to God. Then the foundation, all these little power moves. Having a little bit of nice shit goes a long way.
It does.
Yeah, being functionally homeless. But you look at all that. But yeah, and then trans people, and not all white people, because if you're covered in tattoos, my brother's been in prison a lot. He's not allowed in a lot of
white
buildings.
privilege is really like a catch-all for like middle class privilege.
Yeah,
you can opt out of white privilege. You can come out as a sex worker.
Yep.
You can get a neck tattoo.
You sure can.
Right. Yep. These are all choices we can make.
Unless you're Justin Bieber. Right. In which case, it's like, that fucking idiot. Did you see these? And I mean, he's full body tattoo.
Yeah, he just wanted to make choices for himself,
and it's fine. And it's so funny. It's the opposite when you look at as far as like trying to find options. And we've talked about this especially doing sex work, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm going out, when I was doing the sugaring stuff, I can remember having like a full-blown panic attacks, being like, I'm going to get arrested.
Yeah.
There's going to be a cop, and like you just feel like everyone's watching you. And so I made a conscious decision when I would go out, and we've talked about this, no flashy clothes.
Yeah.
Very little makeup, just like mascara, just super basic.
You feel like a spy. You want to not be seen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You want to go in and just be very kind of, and I think that was the benefit to being older. And I always joke, but it's true. Like being older, having shorter hair, smaller tits. And I know it sounds dumb, but it's like, I look like you and I both, we look like business people.
Right when I turned 18, I was just getting hotels for myself to use for the day rather than doing outcall before I was able to like legally get my own hotel room. I remember this one interaction. I think it was because of how young I was. I checked in, and after I finished checking in, the clerk, who's like very solemn old man, said, "We have a no visitor rule here." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "You're not allowed to have visitors to your room." And because I'm such a debate team, ACLU advocate, spoiled like cunt, I looked at him and said, "That can't possibly be a room. Let me know if you have a problem. You can call." And just walked away.
Whoa.
With this condescent. It didn't occur to me. And yes, I could have gotten in oodles and oodles of trouble.
Yeah.
But I was also like, no. You don't get to ground me as an adult in a hotel room. No. I'm paying for this hotel room. I'm going to do what the fuck I want. You let me know if you think there's a problem. We can work it out. But no, I'm having visitors and goodbye. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. It was not a smart move. I should have moved.
That's
but I
intense.
was too I think entitled is the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
And also it's like anything. It's like any endeavor, whether,
Mm-hmm.
With a comedy pursuing any career, like I'm going to start a business, whatever you want to do. When you're naive and you don't know what's impossible,
right?
That's actually kind of good in a lot of ways, because then you don't have the inherent built-in fear. Like you need fear. I think fear is healthy.
Yeah, fear is healthy, especially when when you start to get fragile as a person. But this fearlessness of youth, I think, is a lot of what makes the world go round.
Right.
We wouldn't have had explorers, and God knows every warrior class is made up of just anxious teenage boys.
Right.
You don't get a warrior class of dudes in their 30s who thought some shit through. That's not
right.
That's not
happening.
When
someone knows what a Roth IRA is,
right.
They're like, I actually have bone spurs on the back of my feet and I can't go.
This running into battle thing looks real dumb.
I got a note from my doctor.
It turns out I got nothing to prove.
Yeah. Except trying to get a higher interest rate.
Yeah.
On my returns, not on the investment. I know a little bit about money.
We're nailing it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I just want to be rich enough, have enough money where I could dress like an asshole. And go out and be, honestly, because right now, but it's so interesting. I was talking to my friend about this when I went to, just not wanting to be, harassed. With recently my bathtub, was like completely
mess,
fucked.
yeah.
And I had to stay in hotels. I got like 3 hotels. Now I walked in and it was and I was like, ooh, I feel so fancy because I walked in very confidently, got a hotel that I paid for,
right?
was not having any visitors. And I was like, it was this strange sense of pride where I walked in and I was like, I'm going to wear something foxy.
Yeah, I can take care of my own survival needs.
And I brought heels and I did myself a little staycation in New York, but I dressed up in a more like, if I'm going, like if you and I were going to go out somewhere and just go hang out for drinks, or I'm going out with friends, or I'm going out on like a date or leaving to a show, I like to dress provocatively sometimes. And, and we're like fancy, like a choker and like cool lipstick. And that's a fun thing to do. And but then when you're going out and doing sex work, there's this crazy thing where it's this
right. You have to protect yourself from the slut shaming that might strip you of your power. Whereas when you're not operating as a sex worker, you can be like, "Come at me, bro. I'm fucking, I'm invulnerable." Whereas like when you're operating as a sex worker, you're vulnerable,
right?
And so it's important. It's crazy. I love getting dressed up too, and like wearing heels and cute eyeliner and like getting dressed up. But it definitely does feel like an uncloaking kind of thing. And it's like, I know a lot of women talk about, when I get dressed up, I'm more confident. So people talk less shit to me or whatever it is. But I feel like I get dressed up and it's a magnet for attention I don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, and I love, what was it? I did a show and I was so excited. I got this it's a picture on my Instagram, but I put on this like bodysuit and these cut off shorts. And I like dressing like that. I think it's fun.
You look great.
But thanks. So do you. But it's such an interesting thing. And that's why I think that's the other reason to me that's so, and this is, as far as trans women, that's gotta be like that feeling, that sensation of being like, if I'm going out, I don't want attention.
Right.
For sex work, like I don't want people looking at me because they're going to know.
Right.
That is the only thing I think that it might be like a similar, because like the fear to feel inside, and I remember talking to a couple of my different friends, trans women, about this, but it's like the fear of when you grow up and you're like, I feel different. This is not that I'm a homosexual. This is not what this is.
Yeah, this is
and like, but it was just such an interesting thing, and it still is now, to hear that side where the paranoia that we're talking about, that I feel like, oh, I don't want to put lipstick on when I'm going to meet, when I was like going to meet a John or like a potential, I would be like, oh, I don't want people looking at me. And then talking to my girlfriends, my trans girlfriends, I'm like, oh God, so that little fear that I have, you have that times a billion.
Times a billion.
Every time you fucking walk out of the house.
And it's fucking rational, right? Because like Monica Jones was arrested, I think, 2 years ago for basically like walking while trans. And it's something that happens all the time. Is like Monica Jones had been arrested as a prostitute a couple of times, but she was just on her way to visit a friend on the bus, and the police arrested her for like loitering or soliciting or blah 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 blah.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Because she was just out about and trans. And so like, and that's something that I hear from our mutual friend Cayenne. It's something we hear like from over and over again.
Yeah.
Is like trans women are like, no, I don't just have the freedom of movement. I get stopped all the time. I get arrested all the time. I get harassed all the time. I'm afraid for my life all the time. It's like every fucking couple of days, another trans woman ends up dead. And I mean, I'm really excited to talk about in the next segment, like contemporary issues with the trans movement and telling these stories and like reclaiming this history. And we'll have to come back after the break, but please, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll do that. And something that we want to do also, because there's so many issues that like obviously Kaytlin and I know, like we know about like the sex work thing from our angle. There's so many different groups involved, and the trans issue. I always feel like, and the concerns of that community. I always feel like a little bit unprepared, and like I don't, what am I? Who the fuck am I talking about it?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be fun, and this is something that we're going to do in future episodes. Just, like in case, because I can already feel, but I mean, our listeners, you guys are all really supportive and cool. So thanks for,
right.
But as far as like bringing guests in, I think that's something that we want to do so we can have like other voices speak about this from a more informed point of view, because this kind of stuff is, I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, that's going to be true for like every social movement the last couple of 100 years, is like white feminists have like different strategic goals than poor black women struggling for survival, right? That's like some of the fault lines along the suffrage movement. It's a very fault lines across like the labor movement, right? Like this white versus black, privileged versus unprivileged, cis versus trans. I mean, like we've been at each other's throats for hundreds of years now.
Right.
It's a big red umbrella, and we're all in this together. And I think that like trans sex workers, especially trans sex workers of color, have always been like the canaries in the coal mine when it comes to sex worker rights, civil liberties, and the kind of tactics that the police state uses to keep us all down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is something that, I mean, we're going to, and we, you know, like we just named, like Cayenne would be great, you know, to,
of course.
To bring her in. And so that's something that we're going to do that in future episodes for sure. Just because, you know, I feel like this is one of the first episodes where I'm like, I don't totally completely identify, and I'm not going to pretend.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you know.
Yeah. Beefsteak was not a part of our repertoire ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's not true. At this point, I may have a Philly cheesesteak in my cashmere dress. So, I mean, actually, that's the only part I do identify with. Oh, a giant slab of meat that is fermented and smelly.
Oh,
and using it as a trick to get people to be like, I can't. Trying to get people to just say, yeah, just stick something in my ass. I do prefer that. That's not true. I don't prefer it. Or like, I'm on my period and my butt period, so I guess I'll just you can jerk off in front of me.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a real fair compromise.
Yeah.
Please email us at theoldestprofessionpodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on the web at theoldestprofessionpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at oldpropodcast. Also on Instagram, same thing, oldpropodcast. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Kaytlin Bailey, Kaytlin, Bailey spelled usual.
And you can. I got hooked. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was sniffing. I was trying to sniff my buzzy through the neck of my cashmere dress.
Just to hear fingers up there. I got to check it out.
I got to rinse this out before I walk around. They'll be like, "Is that cashmere?" I'm not sure. I think she's smuggling food into the restaurant. It smells like lamb. At Wendi Starling on Twitter. Wendi with an I. Instagram. WendyBird82. Yeah. So let's take a break.
Yeah.
And then come back.
We'll be back after these messages. Thank you so much for listening. This episode is sponsored by Velvet Swing, which is a cannabis-enhanced lube that is very nice.
Ooh.
You should follow the founder. This is a whore-owned and operated business.
Okay.
Mistress Matisse on Twitter. So buying this product supports not just your own sex life, but also the sex worker rights movement. Mistress Matisse is a big deal.
Thank you, Mistress.
Yes, you can follow Mistress Matisse at Mistress, Mistreess, Matisse, Matisse.
Yeah, you know why I feel so good? Because while you were in the kitchen about 10 minutes ago before we recorded this, I took the cannabis lube and I jammed it in my butthole. I'll tell you, not the thing.
How do you feel?
Amazing.
Right? You feel relaxed?
I feel my butthole feels great.
Your butthole feels relaxed?
Oh my God, I didn't even think about this. This would be great for anal.
Of course. Yeah, you can't overestimate the importance of a relaxed butthole.
I love anal already. I'm going to be squirting all over the wall if I put some... Okay, now I do want to wrap this because I want to go get fucked.
Velvet Swing, so you can get high while getting down. All right, welcome back. So, I mean, like, yeah, I think we were saying during the break, like, Molly Jones is a trans sex worker hero just by virtue of, like, living her truth in a time when, like, that was unimaginable for most people. Right?
Right.
I mean, like, this is like before women had rights, before black people had rights, certainly before like trans rights was even a vocab word that people understood.
Oh, yeah.
This is somebody who's like living their truth and surrounding themselves.
Probably before trans was even
a
word.
Yeah,
it
no,
was
Molly,
just like, There's a guy in a dress.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they consider themselves cross dressers, and its language is really interesting. So this documentary just came out called "The Life and Death of Marsha P. Johnson." It was released on Netflix, and there was a little bit of controversy surrounding it because it was filmed and directed by a cis white gay guy. But there's this other trans scholar and filmmaker who's been working on a very similar film for years. And so this director apparently used her archive and used her research and didn't credit her and created a film about a trans hero, but not of the community. It was just some white dude telling her story instead of somebody from the community telling her story.
I know. I was about to go, what an asshole. And I was like, oh, you mean exactly what we did
what we just did? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. Right. So on the website, I'm going to be posting, it's his side, her side. So you can read both articles and you can dig into it. But I wanted to talk about Marsha P. Johnson and her BFF, Sylvia Riviera, and what they did. And who they are and how you can help their shit today, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. See, and we're being different because even though we're doing it in a more fun way.
Yeah, we're funnier.
We're giving you a link,
yeah,
so that you can give money to.
Yes, exactly. So Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Riviera are icons of the gay rights movement, or the gay liberation movement, as it was called. They were on the front lines of the Stonewall riots. They were it was trans sex workers of color who were the point of the spear of the gay liberation movement, because as Marsha P. Johnson said, we're the bitches with nothing to lose. Right. So we're up against the wall. We got no more retreating that we can do. So we're loud, we're proud, we're here. And so they were, really engaging, physically engaging with the police and really loud activists. They would not sit down, would not shut up, or pushing trans people to the forefront of the gay rights movement. And they were really embraced for the first couple of years. But then as cisgendered white dudes sort of take over the movement, they get more and more pushed out, and their voices get silenced, and they get erased from history. So the case of Marsha P. Johnson, and the thing that this film chooses to focus on, is she washed up on the shores here in New York somewhere. Her body got pulled out of the river in the 1990s. And it was just marked as a suicide right away. This, how trans people are just killing themselves all the time. Obviously a suicide. But she was an icon of the gay rights movement. All of her friends, all of her supporters are no, this bitch didn't commit suicide. She was, she loved life. She was involved in all of these things. That's not what happened. And they pushed for the case to be investigated, and it still hasn't gotten properly investigated. So it's just an open case now. We have no idea who killed her. We just know that it's probably not a suicide.
Yeah, and they don't know when it happened.
Yeah, no, they don't have, but they didn't do basic policing work. And this is true of a lot of marginalized people. I mean, sex workers, trans people, sometimes people of color, or homeless people. Police officers will mark it as NHI, or no humans involved, and it's just not a high priority case because they think of these as being throwaway people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Sylvia and Marsha both worked together to operate something called the Tranny House, where they were literally turning tricks in order to support other trans homeless people, and feed them and give them shelter, and operated a homeless shelter before there were any public resources for this population. There still aren't enough public resources for this population. And it's watching this documentary and reading about this woman and her life's work and how she dedicated herself to AIDS activism and helping trans homeless people and helping sex workers and advocating to be left alone and for basic rights. It's what if she'd been fully funded from the beginning? What if, it feels like there's all this funding, right? All this anti-AIDS funding, all of this LGBT funding. What if there was more funding to help trans people get their basic fucking survival needs met so that we could elevate their voices, right? Like what if like this woman that was making a documentary had less red tape to go through? What if there were more resources available to her? What if we could redirect more resources to like to trans people and their actual survival needs rather than whatever it is we've been doing for the last 100 fucking years.
Yeah. I mean, and I'd say, damn it. I wish I had time to watch this documentary before we were talking about this. Yeah. I mean, as far as people, I mean, money, that's a problem.
Money. Yeah.
Is that money is so helpful, obviously. And it's tough because you don't want, especially we look at women, the history of women not being able to work, and then you look at, and then slavery in the country, and then trans rights, and all the people are discriminated against, and so you are kicked back.
Right.
So it's more difficult for you to then come up, and so you're either doing these like no skill minimum wage jobs or you're being paid cash,
which feels like a hamster wheel. Like there's no getting out of that. You're just gonna burn out like body and soul.
Yeah. And that's the sex work thing. That's why it's this quick bump to and I hate to, but the fetish thing and it is I hate that groups get fetishized, but it's a thing. What are you gonna do? Do you know what I'm saying? Like some people, like but even like some guys will be like, oh, I really love small tits. So even like, sure, do you know, like it's just like a fetish.
People like what they like, you know, and people are going to be into what they're into.
Right. And so and when I use the term fetish, I don't mean it like, it's not meant as a derogatory term, but yeah, with trans people. And then because you have rich white men in power a lot of times. So they're like, I secretly like really want to fuck a black chick, or like, I really want to fuck a dude, or like a trans woman, or like, and so to go into sex work for these groups. Yep. And I'm including women. Yeah. and poor women in that. It's such a quick bump of cash right away. And then the trick is, and what's cool about these chicks, the trick is that like they, instead of what a lot of people do, and I've done this and it's easy to fall in this trap, you get money and you're like, oh my God, I have this money. You talk about you're buying a latte and you have no place to stay. Right. You're like, oh, I have this money, and it's like,
yeah, and you can burn through it really fast. You especially burn through it because I mean, when you talk about status, I mean, like this is something that we saw with the with the Victorian ladies as well, is like you're already a marginalized, you're already a member of a marginalized group, right? You're black, you're trans, you're homeless, and you're a sex worker. Right. And so you've got a couple of $100. You can buy temporary status for a minute, right? You can spend $90 on like an expensive meal and have a waiter like defer to you for 90 minutes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
that's my very most favorite thing in the world. It really. Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to take myself out. And so you go. And then the upkeep also on like being a trans woman and like all of the medical shit that you need, all of these like injection parties, people denying trans people medical care, or I mean, I think there was one case of not just doctors refusing to give trans people like their hormone replacement therapy or like the plastic surgery or like the stuff that they need for that, but like if you're a trans person and you go to the emergency room with a broken wrist, you might have some dumb fucking doctor look at your results and be like, oh, your testosterone levels are too high. That's the real problem. It's like, well, no, I have a broken wrist. Like, we got to stop. You don't know. Yeah, fuck you and your dumb thoughts about what you think my testosterone levels should be. Fix the wrist, right? So like trans people are denied medical coverage on multiple fronts, right? So they're denied the coverage that they need in order to transition into their preferred gender, and they're also denied coverage because they're transitioning into their preferred gender. Dumb doctors, just like the dumb doctors during the Contagious Diseases Acts, are like, oh, you know what you need? You need some mercury. It's like the same arrogance. Right, when it's just like, and your moral code shouldn't be involved. And like, you're a doctor, you should be doing this, Yes. But so there's so many things you can do. You can burn through money. And it is but what's cool about these chicks is that they took their money, their earnings, and pooled it together, a housing system to try to help people.
They're trying to pool resources in order to facilitate their survival. And this is something that's been true of like marginalized, I've said marginalized like 1,000 times, but like desperate communities help each other, right? So you see like sex workers coming together and you see trans sex workers coming together. It was probably probably true during Molly Jones's time. It was certainly true during Marsha P. Johnson's time, and now it's true during Cayenne Dorashow's time. That's her organization, Glitz. And so what she's doing is she's taking immigrant, trans, often sex workers of color and keeping them on her fucking couch because they've been run out of countries that are trying to kill them. That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
And so her foundation, Glitz, is hoping to pool the money together to build like a real facility. So not like what Marsha P. Johnson was doing, where it's like two homeless people trying to be less homeless together, right? But there's real funding out there. There's real money for these kinds of things. And if we to redirect those resources to the women that actually know what they need, right? Instead of going through committees of cis people imagining what these communities need, which is what it's been like. So Glitz is the organization. There's a link to it on our website. They're having a fundraiser on December 17th at the Brooklyn Bazaar. That's and December 17th is the day where sex workers come together to mourn our dead, those that have been killed or committed suicide.
Sounds like a fun party.
It's gonna be great.
I'm bringing the poppers.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. Yeah, lots of cocaine.
Yeah, pop. We're just like trying to go
the worst. I like the concept of it, right? Because it's like on December 17th, that's where we come together and like so we mourn our dead, and then we pledge to support our most vulnerable, which always were and still continue to be Black, trans, or like trans sex workers of color, right? Those are they're overrepresented in our death count, basically. Right. And I think it's up to, cis privileged sex workers with access to capital, with access to resources.
Who could that be?
It might be our butts sitting around with all this podcast equipment, redirected resources to help the actual goddamn survival needs of these women so that they can build their own platform. Because you can't build a platform if you're worried about where your next meal is coming from. You can't do it.
Yeah. Now I feel bad about talking about Patreon.
Donate to us, donate to them, but come December 17th.
No, but we're gonna work. Look, we got to do something where we do like 50% of whatever we get. We got to donate somewhere because we've talked about Cayenne before, and the Glitz. I think we did.
Badass.
She's really cool, and we've talked about Glitz before on the show, and we're gonna keep talking about it because it's a great organization.
It is a great organization. It's just getting started, and these organizations are always like vulnerable and fragile in the beginning. But the thing that makes them less vulnerable is fucking money, because with money you can dot your I's and cross your T's. You can get your bureaucratic shit in a row so that you can focus on the real work of keeping these bitches alive long enough to tell their own goddamn story.
Right, and with enough money you can wander around with a suitcase.
Right.
Wander through Manhattan. You need money and good makeup. I got my YSL foundation. So I fixed my face a little bit. I got my hair so fucking crispy. Now I want to talk about my problem.
Yeah.
My hair
logistics.
It's great, but just that little bump of money help with everything. Like you can eat. Once you have your basic needs met.
Yes.
And it is so tough, especially, when you can't even get a job because people are going to, even if you wanted to go in as a fry cook.
Yep.
Be a 6'3" trans woman.
Yeah.
Of any fucking race.
Mm-hmm.
Any race.
Yeah.
And try to go apply for the job as the barista.
Yep.
On Ditmars and Queens.
Yeah.
Try it.
No, it's a nightmare.
Just that.
Mm-hmm. So
it's not even, and that's, well, and then on top of that, if you have done, and here's the other thing too, and this is what's so crazy, and I was going to, it's talking about the fetishization. The chick you said they got arrested. What was the chick that got arrested?
Jones.
Monica Jones?
Yeah.
We got a lot of Joneses in this episode.
Yes, there's a lot happening.
Yeah. We got a Mary Jones. There's a Molly Jones. We got a Monica Jones.
Wait, there is a Molly. I think I made up. I don't think Molly Jones exists.
Okay.
I think I may have just misspoke.
You said Molly Jones the whole second half.
God
so
damn
I was confused. Is it Mary Jones?
It's Mary Jones.
Okay, it's Mary Jones.
I don't know anything.
I was confused. I just went along. I'm like,
no. Yeah, sure.
I was like, this is something in the Netflix thing. I was not. I'm along for the ride on this episode.
Mary Jones was the badass bitch in 1836, and Monica Jones is the superhero today who got just arrested. The thing that makes her story unique is not that she got arrested for being trans, which is something that happens literally all the time. It's that she fought and she won.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Orlando Jones is a comedic actor who played Joanna Man. That was his cross-dressing character in some basketball movie, I believe, titled Joanna Man.
Oh, that's great.
Which is probably an insensitive thing to say, but I don't care because I'm trying to keep it on theme. But as far as just being arrested, like when you being a trans woman, there are people who in their brain, for whatever reason, like they take the word tranny, which I know is offensive, and whore, and almost a lot of people use those together all the time. Yeah. So a lot of times, if you go in, you're walking down the street, you're trying to look cute, go somewhere, a couple, they assume they're like, oh, this is a prostitute.
Right.
Just because,
Right.
They're just like, well, why else would you? Well,
why else would you dress like somebody in a music video?
Right.
Because music video. Okay.
Yeah, because that's how the fuck I want to dress.
But it comes back to this like no humans involved thing. Is like whether you're trans or whether you're a prostitute. I think that there are a lot of police officers, bureaucrats, just people in the world that think, oh, okay, you're not fully human. That's what that means.
Yeah.
And then it's a double whammy if you're a trans sex worker. It's like, oh, well, then you have no rights. You have no right to human dignity, no right to any of this. And it's crazy how comfortable people feel putting people in these kinds of desperate situations in such a robust, wealthy society. The fact that we have so many people living on the edge, doing desperate things. I mean, like, you want to end sex work, you want to end sex trafficking, you want to end exploitation, you want to end slave labor, then take away economic desperation, right? If we created a bottom in the society, right? Like a floor through which we let nobody pass no matter what in terms of like food, shelter, spending money, you know what I mean? Like we're talking, I'm bad at economics and math.
Spending money. That sounds like a great.
I swear to God, like, and I think we're moving. There are people talking about this, like basic minimum income, basically, of like if you're a citizen of a country, then you have a right to a basic minimum income because automation is going to be threatening such a huge swath of jobs available that there literally won't be enough jobs for people. So our option is we are giving people a basic minimum income with the surplus that the machines are creating, or we're just going to let a bunch of people starve to death.
I think they're going to be fine because the CVS by my place, the robots are shutting down constantly, and they
robots are bad at their jobs.
They actually have more. They have more human beings working to direct traffic and fix the machines than if they just had 4 people open up a fucking register.
Yep.
And only 2 of the machines don't. This whole fucking thing is like the robots are breaking down.
It's just not that it's coming.
Yeah, the robots.
No, this is just the first iteration. They're gonna fix that shit. It's gonna be. You're never gonna make eye contact with another person selling you a thing ever again.
Well,
Those are going
fine.
away. What?
That's great. I want to do one or the other. I don't like this half and half. I either want old-timey, all people, no robots. But now...
I'm going to miss people.
And now I got to stand in line at CVS, and I want to pay cash for my shit because I don't want the government knowing what I'm doing. And I'll walk in with just $10 to buy cat food or the fuck I'm getting. You stand in a line. They got 2 people on a register. They got 6 kiosks set up. Only 2 of the machines, I'm going to call them robots because they're against us, take cash. The rest are card only. And it's New York and everyone's running some kind of fucking scheme. So everyone's paying for everything in cash.
Right.
Because everyone's got like 3 side angles are working.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of angry...
If it's not deductible, I'm paying for it in cash.
Yeah. It's a bunch of pissed off people.
Yeah, of course.
In this, and they just redid the CVS. They redid it, and so people walk in and
where is my shit?
People walk in and they're just like, I'm looking for nail. People, are losing their minds. It's almost as if they walk in the door
it's like
and
if they did it to them. Like the managers were like, how are we gonna fuck up Sally?
You walk in and it looks like we're like, was there a lobotomy? Did everyone receive a lobotomy in between the 2 mechanical doors because they walk in and they're just yelling about I can't. And it's like, okay, so everyone's in a real high pressure situation already because they can't find their favorite flavor of combos. Okay,
right.
So and then you're there, and then you have to stand there because they're like, okay, next person, and then like, well, I have cash, and so that and now there's infighting with people in the line because they're like, you go, you move,
right.
So I think we're going to go back to just regular old people. I'd rather have some fucking high 16-year-old take 5 extra minutes to figure out how to get my discount code in the thing or count change back properly.
Right.
Than deal with, we're waving cash. You have to hold your cash up like this. So you're like, I'm waiting for this. We're all waiting for, and then they're broken. No, we're all going to be fine. The machines aren't going to last. That's my take. I'm so fucking fired up.
I mean, I want you to be right, but I know in my heart that you're wrong. We're not putting the toothpaste back in the toothpaste tube, right? We're on the on ramp.
Give it to me
automation.
And I'll do it. Give me the
on
toothpaste.
A massive scale.
Give me the toothpaste.
we can talk about labor rights and all that kinds of shit, but it's we were talking about chosen family in the first half of the episode, right? How Mary Jones found her people in a brothel, right? So like other sex workers were supporting her and her identity. You got Martha P. Johnson and Sylvia Riviera who are coming together and like creating that community and like being a part of that community. And I think the same thing is happening today, but we've gotta pull it together. We're too disparate right now. Like we got too many different competing interests where I think if we pool resources, we can really get some shit done. But I think it has to start with pulling the bottom up, right? Like we gotta.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing is that you're talking about. There's all this crazy infighting, and you look and you see, and even just politically, like and just to look at and I try to like. This happened the other day in a green room, at near a comedy club. Bunch of comics hanging out. Some people that I didn't really, weren't really like friends, but we were hanging out, having a conversation, and then talking about and this is not even with sex workers. This is just people in general. As far as people picking little fights to get into, it's like, first of all, get over yourself, because if in general we're all on the same team, then let's try to be fucking cool and understand each other. Because with the Trump presidency, you've got all the everyone else, right? So in this green room there were black comics, Hispanic comics, and 2 female comics, and the 2 chick comics were white chicks. So we're all just kind of talking, and then one of the dudes makes a comment, and now in that room, none of us voted for Trump. Okay, so we're all on the same team of like, we're nice people. Now what happens is one of the dudes, someone says something about a Harvey Weinstein, they make a joke. Okay. Now, I understand that people are making jokes.
Sure.
Okay? You're a comic. And I just don't get fucking butthurt about stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're just trying to have a conversation. So, and it's like, okay, well, whatever. I'm not going to change this dude's mind, whatever, like, get over it. This other chick gets real fired up, and now she's mad, and then one of the other guys, and it's like, and you don't understand, and he's like, we don't understand what it's like to be black in this, and so now we are having a very passive-aggressive conversation, and I was like, I wanted to go, hey, guys, girls, everybody, I understand, and now we're all, and this is why we can't, like you're saying, accomplish things and help pull each other up, because
we're get too distracted by the dumb
by
infighting.
All this other stuff. And everyone has a valid viewpoint, right. And I understand it.
It's like, guys, I don't care if you're black or if you're a woman. We're all comics. Society gives no fucks about us because of that. The comic thing trumps all the other fucking identity shit. Like, we're all dealing with our own shit, right? We're dealing with our woman shit. Right. We're dealing with our poor shit. We're dealing with our black shit. We're dealing with our like whatever. Like, fine.
If a comic gets murdered and there's the no humans involved thing, I will accept that.
Yeah,
I will,
right. No,
we're
fair.
Half,
we're a nightmare. We're
half a people.
Yes. Yeah,
just these empty.
No. If you're gonna pick a subculture to discriminate against, it shouldn't be sex work. It should be comics. Comics should be
specifically prop comics.
Nobody
specifically a prop comic. Yeah. When I walk into my show later with the suitcase, I'm gonna make that joke.
Yes.
If you think I'm not gonna make prop comedy jokes
all day
to everyone that didn't hear me say it the first 3 times tonight, you're wrong. You are wrong. Climb in my suitcase.
Oh, that's great.
I'll bring you out as my the ventriloquist, the dummy act.
And I mean, this is something that's true about people, is that we tend to fight with those that are actually closest to us rather than those furthest away, right? Like the major conflict in the Middle East is like between two very similar groups of people, right? You talk about like the North and like big major conflicts have been between neighbors, right? Like the Irish versus the English. Like, you know what I mean? It's like there's not the difference is like only feel big because you're so fucking close up, you know?
Right.
And so it's this infighting in the community. I think it's an important conversation because I think for too long in too many movements, the like, oh, let's just get together. Let's just get on the same page. Let's just get on the same team has often meant for, you know, minorities to sit down and shut up. But I think in this case, it's about, no, let's really talk about what it means to be on the bottom rung of society and like how we can fix that whole fucking mentality because we're losing talent and we're losing people for dumb ideas.
Well, like you said, and that's why it's so important as far as the funding thing. And here's as far as having money, because it's more difficult to focus on like, so let's see, what do we like as a group? Like as a world group, what are we trying to accomplish when you haven't fucking eaten?
Right.
When you don't have a place to stay.
Yeah.
You know? Like that is, and even for me, and I've noticed that, and I was like to wake up and I was like, oh God, this is a huge, like if I'm tired, which I am a lot, but like I took a break where I like wasn't drinking for a while because when I wake up, so I was like, to wake up hungover in my apartment in Queens where I have no closet and I have roommates and a cat and like my curtain rod continues to fall. So I have just nailed curtains to the wall.
Sure. That's a solution.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to have a place to live and when the bathtub was gurgling up. So, and now I've come to where it's like, okay, so there's no proper ventilation in the apartment. There's just not. So to wake up, and if I wake up tired or a little hungover there, I'm like, oh God, and it's just the whole day. You're just like, and then you wake up in that environment and you can feel that.
Yeah.
Now, when I wake up, I can wake up on 3 hours of sleep after having been doing drugs all night. And when I wake up in a penthouse, I have energy.
Yep. Yeah, you're ready to go.
I swear to God, I'm like, oh, it's not the booze or the drugs, it's the amenities.
Yes.
Do you know, like, and
money makes everything easier, and not having money makes tiny problems huge,
right,
insurmountable, right? Like I remember, I mean, I feel like a tourist in poverty, and like I went through a couple of years where I didn't have any fucking money, but also, like, I have parents and a community and like access to social capital, and like my worst case scenario was just never gonna be that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I was stealing toilet paper and didn't have enough money for yeast infection medication and was sleeping on yoga mats and like had no privacy, and it's just like the wear and tear of like, and just having like a meltdown, like a snot bubble tear meltdown because my Metro card ran out before it was supposed to in my head. And I just couldn't solve that problem. So I'm having like a fucking meltdown. I mean, thank God, you know, like some stranger like swiped me through or whatever, but it's like, that shouldn't be a problem, right? Like the barrier to get, you know, people in the same room or getting people to like give their energy to a movement or like helping each other, the $2.75 or the less than $3 problems are real barriers.
Yeah.
For like so many people don't even think about that shit.
Right.
Right? It's like there's no empathy for I didn't have money to get there. There's no empathy for I don't have the time to take care of myself because I'm running from like one job to another. It's like I'm sorry I smell. I mean, like you've got your suitcase and you've got the Equinox membership, but like imagine if you were doing today
I know,
without that structure. You're just like, you know, by 5 o'clock you smell.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm lucky. I mean, I can that I can take, you know, that I can go to the gym. If I have to take a car, I can take a car. You know, like that all. So it's to be able to be in air conditioning and sit and, you know, and be able to fucking shower halfway through the, you know, it's
access to the accoutrements of wealth. And like we were saying on some of the first episodes, that like elevator it's all about access.
Yeah.
And like the kinds of different systems that prevent these like incredibly smart, incredibly talented, incredibly dedicated women from getting the basic resources that they need to help each other. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that's why, like, so we have the link to Cayenne's group there.
Yep. Glitz is doing really good work. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's so important to like get these charities and just, give money when you can and contribute, because once you, like you said, like the lowest rung, once everyone's basic needs are met, then it makes it easier for us to then your blood sugar's up. You're not, because you're not, a lot of people aren't concerned about like, well, what's the, the socioeconomic future, blah, blah. And they're like, I don't have shoes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I can understand being like, listen.
And sex worker to sex worker, I don't think we can do the next phase of this movement unless we have a lot of different kinds of voices at the table. But we got to help our sisters get to the table. And that's what this like basic survival needs shit is like if we can help a handful of people like get their basic survival needs met, then they can come to the table and we can help get to the next phase where we're not arresting people for being trans.
Right.
We're not arresting people for doing sex work. We can help destigmatize sex work as a group, all of us in this together, if we can help get everyone to the table.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna do. Because we got to wrap this up. But so I do want to say, and we're having a serious conversation. So I know at the beginning I was joking about like Patreon and like my cashmere dress, but I'm being serious. So my pussy has been dripping into this cashmere the whole time we've been recording. Not only did we turn off the AC, we turned on the heater. So what I'm going to do, highest bidder, I'll sell it. Whatever money you give, we'll donate it to Glitz. So there you go. So that,
Yeah.
It is a ripe one. This is a ripe dress.
Cashmere dress. I could smell it from here. It is delicious.
We'll post a picture of it. It's just disintegrated.
We'll post a picture of it on Instagram. This soaking wet cashmere BO dress. And so how should people bid? Should people email us? Do you want to do this on Twitter?
We'll tweet at us. Well, when the episode comes out, we'll put a thing out. You can email us. Yeah.
All right, and we will be donating. I think we should donate the money on December 17th, so we can have the bidding from now until December.
Perfect.
Great. All right, thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Twitter. Send us your thoughts. Email us, and somebody better nab that stanky ass dress.
Yeah, I'm about to take it to the gym.
This has been The Oldest Profession.